Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. I usually do virtually walking videos of the Vancouver, BC Lower Mainland area, but every now and then I'll do departure from that and I'll do a review of a product that I use to produce the videos for my channel or to somehow whatever facilitate being able to produce these videos. So today we're going to do that, and one of the products that I use is in front of us here. It's a Raspberry Pi 4, and I use it as a home automation controller for when I'm traveling. It basically runs the house 24/7, does security, heating, controls lighting, and all sorts of other things. And I'm just going to showcase it because I think it's a fantastic little product and the software is amazing. It's like I said, I think I mentioned it was Home Assistant is what I use on it. So what we'll do is I'll go over to Raspberry Pi 4, show you kind of show you what it looks like, show you the case, and just talk about it. And then we'll put it together, and I will install the software and run it up. Basically, put a backup of my running system, and showing my running system, and then just take it from there. If you do like what I'm doing here, you like this video, let me know, because I could enhance it some more if you want, and break it down into its components that I use on my automation server. So let's get started. So here's the Raspberry Pi 4 Model B. So it comes with a Broadcom BCM 2711 1.8 gigahertz 64-bit quad-core Cortex A72 ARM V8 processor. Also, you have a choice of 1, 2, 4, or 8 gigabytes of RAM. It comes with two USB 2 ports right here, two USB 3 ports right here, gigabit Ethernet right here, and two 4K HDMI, micro HDMI ports, AV jack, USB-C power connector, slot for your SD RAM right there. It has 2.4 gig, 5 gigahertz 802.11 AC Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 5.0, and that's it for the components. This one here, I think it's a 4 gig, but I'm not sure. I purchased the kit I bought came with heat sinks, so I put them on, so it's covering the memory chips. So I can't tell what it is, but we can run that up, take a look later on. I think it's 4 gigs. On with these, purchase yourself a good power supply, minimum 3 amp USB-C 5 volt, but a good quality one. They are finicky with power, so that's what I did. This one's been very, very reliable, and done many different things with it, from home automation to mini media players. But what we're going to do here is I am going to install Home Assistant onto a solid state drive that I have retasked from a B-Link U59 Pro. I produced a video on that in my review section. You can take a look at that if you want. And here is the SSD drive, 500 gigahertz SSD M2. And what I did, I purchased a M2 USB 3 caddy, and that's what we're going to use to run the Raspberry Pi with. So I'll just put this in. Lock it up. There we go. Got to get it the right way around. There you go. So that's the drive ready, and I'll put the Raspberry Pi in its case. Now I've got a passive cooler here, no fan on this one, so it's nice and quiet. I like it, but I prefer, since I'm running these 24/7, to use active coolers, and I do run a Raspberry Pi 5 currently with an active cooler, and I like how cool it does run. But this will be just fine for what you want. Okay, so let's put it together. So there you go. We're ready to go. So we'll end up plugging this into here. There's your power supply connector. So if you wanted to use an SD RAM card, you could just slide it right into here. I've run them with SD cards for quite a while. I find that they will all eventually fail on you. So you'll end up having to reinstall every year or so. I decided to move away and go to either SD RAM or solid state drives. This is my first install of a solid state drive on our Raspberry Pi, and we'll see how that goes. I've done some. So now that we have our hardware all set up, next thing is to get the Raspberry Pi 4 to boot from USB thumb drive. To do that, we have to flash the EPROM, and we do that by getting the EPROM image. If you go right, if you just search for IPI Imager, it'll take us to the Raspberry Pi OS, and from there you can download it for Windows or Mac or Ubuntu. Go ahead and download that, and once you have it, go ahead and install it. It's straightforward, and let's run it. So there it is. Let's run it. So we are going to grab the RPI4, go to miscellaneous images, bootloader, and USB boot. Select your SD RAM card. And write it. Okay, so it's done. So at this point, you just basically put the SD RAM card in your Raspberry Pi, you boot it up, and if you don't have the monitor connected to it, that's fine. Just watch the LED on the Raspberry Pi. When it starts to blink, it's done. If you have a monitor plugged into it, just wait for the screen to go solid green, and then you're done. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the Home Assistant image from Raspberry Pi Imager onto our 500 gig SSD drive. Again, just go to Raspberry Pi 4, other specific purpose OS, home automation or home automation, home assistant. They're just there. Choose the SSD drive, and again, write it. This will take a little bit of time, and I usually let these images verify also, just to make sure they're good images. Okay, so we have a burned image. Now unplug the SSD drive and plug it into your Raspberry Pi. Plug your Pi into the network and boot it up. When it boots up, now it'll take a little bit to boot up, a few minutes. If you have a monitor attached, the command line interface will show you the IP address to connect to. If you don't have a monitor attached, that's fine too. Just go to your router, and the router should show you what devices are connected and their names, and that'll show you the IP address. So once you get that and it's booted, you'll be able to connect with your web browser to the RPI. Okay, so I have plugged the Raspberry Pi 4 into the network, and with the SSD drive plugged into USB 3 port, powered it up, and checked my router for the IP address, found it, and we're ready to connect to it. So let's punch in the IP address. Don't forget the 8123. And there's your initial screen. Now at this point, if you're starting from scratch, just go create My Smart Home, and it walks you through just the basic stuff to get set up to use Home Assistant. Now, since I wanted to show you an existing setup and what Home Assistant does, we're just going to restore from my backup. And so let's do that. And this could take some time, so we're just going to let it do its thing. Probably can take up to, depends on the size of your project, but this one takes, I think, about an hour to do. So we'll just let it do that, and when it's done, I will show you Home Assistant. So Home Assistant has restored from backup, and I've gone to the login screen. Again, it's the IP address of your Raspberry Pi with 8123. And I'm going to log in here. So there's your overview page. So before I do anything, I just like to change the theme here a little darker so things show up a little better. Okay, back to the overview page. So on this left-hand pane here, this is where all your dashboards are located, plus some other components that you can put there to allow you to develop your website, your dashboard. So this is the one here I'm going to talk most about. There's a few other ones here: minimalist, Dwayne's dashboard. They're great. Dwayne's dashboard. Shout out to the developer of this. You can download this, and all you have to do is, once it's up and running, just group all your objects into specific rooms, and it builds it for you. I'll just show you briefly what it looks like. You really don't have to do much to get this going. So there's your rooms. And in this side here, you can put other objects that you want in here. I just throw some graphs in there. And I like this up here. This panel here is really nice. It shows you the current status of devices. And if you go to a room here, it shows you the devices in that room and other objects that you've put in there. There's a TV, dimmers, temperature. Hallway, for instance, will show you another graph and a thermostat. So if you want to get going real quick, give that a try. Another one here that takes a little bit more work is this one here called Minimalist. It's quite nice. I like it. I've created it to somewhat mimic what Dwayne's dashboard is doing with some rooms here. There is a tutorial on online, I believe, that you can follow that will help you do this. Again, there's the family room here. Put your objects in there as you want. Once again, thermostat. But let's go to what I really want to show you, and that's this one here, the tablet. And I call it tablet because that's what I've developed it for. Is a small Samsung tablet. I like to have one view as an overview, and then pages up here called views that you can go to get more details if you want. But primarily, I just leave it running here like this. Okay. So let's just go through these different items. Badges. Now these are great. I like them because they give you a quick snapshot of what your system is doing. You can just use regular entities, or you can use templates and write your own code. I've got a mix of both here, and I find it really helpful for just a really quick view of what's happening. So I've got a bunch of CPU stuff here and Raspberry Pi Power, whether the camera system is running, whether I'm home or at work, the TV's on or off, sunrise time, and travel time to and from work. These are quite interesting. This is a template badge which allows you to write your own code underneath it, and I'll get into that a little bit more as we go through this. But let's just go through the whole site here, the whole dashboard. So here's our weather section right here. And these guys are templates. Now, these templates I've tied to weather entities and time and day and time entities here. So here, this badge here will change state based on season. The icon here will change based on the condition. And I also bring in the actual current weather for the day. Here, date and time. I use this to generate, I call them modes. So you'll see daytime here right now, afternoon, nighttime, bedtime, things like that. Now, I like it because you can use these if you want to program it further to actually trigger events if you wanted to. So it can be quite handy. Here, I tied into the calendars that I use. You can tie into multiple different types of calendars, and there's an app, or not app, there's a add-on you can use, or an integration you can use that'll actually give you your garbage calendar, and that's what I do here. And these are tied into some calendars of mine um, from Gmail, etc. And I can bring in events, and I do that, and I find it quite handy. Okay, so the lighting here. So you can these are tied into my light switches. I've got a mix of Z-Wave lighting and some Wi-Fi lighting and Wi-Fi LED lighting, that is. And just basically click on it, turn on, count how many lights are on. Okay, two on, none on. Dimmers, family room. If I do a long click on that, it'll bring up the control for it. There's your dimmer for it, and your on-off for it. There you go. TV backlight. This is an LED TV backlight here. LED strips. You do a long click on it, it'll bring up the actual code or the actual controller for it. Brightness. color. You can do all sorts of crazy effects too. We'll just leave that for now. Go to the color wheel here. Go to a nice magenta here. And turn it back off. Turn the family room light off too. There we go. Okay, heating. As you can see with heating here, I've got this icon to spin here when the heating is on, and the badge turns orange with a flame when it's heating. This changes based on state of the thermostat, what the HVAC is doing. So if you have cooling running, you'll have this going blue, and it'll be a snowflake. And this again would change to a snowflake in blue. And this item here will show you the states of the system. It's telling you it's heating and you're in away mode. So if I click on this guy, it'll actually bring up the thermostat itself, and you can control the heat with the slider here. Okay. Plus, there's other things you can do with the control here, presets and modes, etc. Okay. So also, this is an ecobee thermostat. So it comes with a occupancy sensor and remote occupancy sensors. You can get them separate. It does come with one, the one I bought, and I got another one also. So living room, family room, and hallway. This one's built into the ecobee. These are remote. Tells you occupancy and temperature. The nice part about these is you can use them to do things as controls for automations, or they're automatically programmed within the ecobee to control your heat based on what's happening in those rooms. Let's go to the alarm system now. Now the alarm system here, again, this is an object that is built into Home Assistant that you can just grab it and use it. These are templates that I've used to actually show you statuses of the alarm system, and it allows you to arm it. Click on that, you put in your code, you can arm it and disarm it, and these will change. This will change based on the state. For instance, when it's arming and you're leaving, it'll tell you that it's your delayed mode you're leaving, and when it's armed, these change color. This flashes when it's arming. Here, as you see this flash, I don't know if you caught that or not, but that shows you zones that are open or closed, and what the current state is. If you're able to, if it's all secure, you can arm it. If a zone is occupied, you won't be able to arm the system unless you bypass it, and this tells you all of that. Now here we have what's called Frigate camera system, NVR system. It's a fantastic NVR in my opinion. It uses AI, and it can pick out objects within your camera view, and basically capture those objects, record them, and yeah, it's quite good. I found it to be one of the best camera systems that I've used. So I won't say too much about it. It's basically a video in its own. To introduce you to that. So let's get back to these badges and what I said you can do with these badges, and you can do with these guys here, badges and templates. So let's just take a look at this. Let's go to edit mode here, click on the pencil here, and yeah, let's do this one here, sunrise. So there's your code here. Now we're in the actual visual editor right now, and the icon here, this code says, well, if the time is greater than midnight, and if it is less than midday, then it's likely middle of the day, and it's going to be middle of the day. So give me the sun angle icon. And as you can see here, there's your sun angle icon. And I say, well, if it's the same time, it's during the day, I want it to be yellow. If it's past that, not this here, if it's past 12 o'clock, then you're going to be you're going to be looking at your sunset. What's your sunset time? And you're going to change your sunset. You're going to change your icon to a waning crescent, and you're going to make it gray. Right? And this section of content here actually gives you your sunrise, sunset times, right? So that's very handy. If you go into the actual code editor, this is the actual raw code, and you can just basically cut and paste this stuff, right? And you can get the code off the internet if you want, or write it from scratch yourself, whatever you want. Just paste it in, and if it's done correctly, it'll work just like this. Now, another thing I want to show you is this guy right here. This is again a template card, and this was a template badge. So I want to show you this motion here and how we do that. So here's again your visual code editor, and what you want to do is you want to go into your actual raw code here and card mod. You can add card mod to your system, and that gives you the ability to modify your cards. And you can do things like change your font sizes. You can change color of your secondary and primary text. You can change your badge icon sizes, a lot of different things. But you can also do things like use states of your entities to do things like rotate objects. And this is what I do here in this piece of code here. And I think that's really cool. You can do a lot of nice effects with it. And I just want to show you quickly that you can actually do that. Okay, so last comment is like, why did I do this with the RPi4 and SSD drive? Well, first of all, I'm running the RPi5 on my main home automation server or system, and unfortunately, the SSD drive, for whatever reason, it gives me inode errors when I try to install Home Assistant on it. It gets almost all the way through, and then it gives me errors and it fails. Haven't figured that out yet, but on the RPi4, it doesn't do that. Now, so that's and the RPi4 and RPi5. I mean, in my opinion, they're both good. They're both got enough horsepower to do what I need it to do. But with the SSD drive, it gives me a lot more storage for my camera system, and the performance should be significantly better than just a regular USB thumb drive. Although I'm finding the USB thumb drive to be just fine. So that's why I've done all of this. And I intend at some point to actually get the SSD drive over to my RPi5 and go back to that. But for now, we'll look at the RPi4. Difference is it uses passive cooling. RPi5 uses active cooling. So the RPi5 runs a little cooler, not much really. You can see up here we're running at 48.7 degrees, well within spec. We're fine there, right? But what's interesting here, disk warning is it's not correct right now. I'll have to change the code a little bit here. I set my thresholds pretty low, but I just again gone from a 128 gig USB thumb drive to a 500 gig solid state drive. So I need to change the code there a bit to get that working the way I want it to. But I get way more storage, and that's one of the things I wanted. I want to maybe store a month's worth of video if I can. Right now I'm only storing about 4 or 5 days, something like that. So there you have it, a real quick look at what the RPi4 does, what it can do, what I use it for the virtually walking channel that I have. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you have liked this video, please consider subscribing, give me a comment and a like. If you'd like, I can do more videos and give you more details of how I did all these different components here. And just let me know what you want, and yeah, take it from there. And hope you enjoyed the video again, and see you on the next one.